Welcome at home. Welcome here. Today's Yin, we're going to focus on the spine. So we're going to take it through lots of different. We're going to take it flexion, extension, lateral flexion, extension. Be mindful of what you need. If you need any extra props, grab them, especially if you're at home. You have everything to your disposal. If you need some extra pillows, let me know. But we're going to start as we normally do. We'll start a little seated centering, and then we'll do the Taoist breath again. We did that last week, but we'll do the Taoist breath seated this time, so a little bit different. And then we will move into our sequence. So I don't know what this music today. We might just do the music.
This is the sound.
This is the sound that I do not like. It's always on here and stuff. So we're gonna be nice and just enjoy the birds outside. So find a comfortable seat. Allow your eyes to close. And if you're feeling like your mind's a little bit scattered, maybe turn your palms down. If you feel like you're a little bit sluggish right now, maybe turn your palms up. Just doing our opening, centering. And then once you're there, take a full inhale. And let it go. Just allow yourself to come into the space, onto your mat, and into your body. Connecting with your surroundings, acknowledging the sounds, the smells, the temperature of the air, any other energies in the room with you. Just allow yourself to become more present, moment by moment, breath by breath. Just take a full inhale here. And let it go. Allow yourself to scan over that physical body today. Acknowledge any areas of tightness, concern, any injuries and fatigue. Just kind of notice how it feels at the end of the work. Taking inventory without judgment. Acknowledging without criticizing. Just noticing where you hold the tension, where you feel a little bit more relaxed. So that at the end of our practice, we can come back and revisit that. Maybe things are a little bit more loose, a little bit more relaxed. We will be going through the spine, so the spine will be our focus. Other areas are just a bonus of the hips and shoulders. I'm trying to really focus on that spine, creating nice movement, not movement in the spine, but nice holds in the spine so that our spine is a little bit more lubricated, so we can move a little bit more freely in our days ahead and the weekend. Take a full inhale. And let it go. Start to check in mentally, emotionally. Acknowledge any thoughts that are still bouncing around your head. Any emotions that might be attached to those thoughts. Give all of them some validity. They are there, they're real for you, they are happening. And then see if you can give those some loving kindness after you acknowledge each one, and then see if you can send them outside your room. Let them leave outside the door, outside the window. Just allowing yourself to drop more and more into that body breath awareness, that body mind awareness, dropping more into the present moment. Taking a full inhale. And let it go. Start to lengthen and deepen your breath just for a few moments. We'll be here for about a minute. Inhaling to a count of 3 or 4, matching that with an exhale to the count of 3 or 4. Just allowing that breath to drop you more into the present. Maybe you focus in on an intention for your practice, building that awareness, connecting to the breath, or the theme we've been working with all week, be where your feet are. Just a few more rounds of breath, noticing the quality of your breath, the length, the depth. Again, without criticism, without judgment, just noticing. And allow yourself to come back to this breath time and time again throughout the practice. As you're sitting, holding, and this open. Our closes today will be about 3 to 4 minutes long. And we'll set that intention, opening our practice together with the sound of Om. So bring your hands together at your heart center. Exhale fully here. Inhale. On your next exhale, let your hands come back down with your eyes open. And we're going to shift forward. If it's okay, you can stay seated like this. If you're comfortable sitting on your heels with your toes flat, you can sit like that. You can even take a block underneath you to sit on your knees if that feels good. So we're going to start with our Taoist breath. So being able to fold forward at any time here. Good. So exhale, bring those arms down. And as you inhale, sweep the arms out and up. Nice and slow exhale, press those arms away as you bend. Inhale, gather that energy in toward the shoulders. And then as you exhale, push the energy away as you round your spine, chin, chest. Interlace the fingers as you inhale, sweep those palms up. And then as you exhale, release the arms nice and wide, fold forward a little bit. Good. Again, inhale, takes the arms up as you reach the spine long. Exhale, bend the elbows, take your arms wide. Inhale is going to gather that energy in. As you exhale, press it away. Interlace the fingers as you inhale, sweep those arms up real long through the spine. And then exhale, hands down as you fold forward. 3 more times like that. Inhale, spine grows long. Exhale, push the energy away. Inhale, gather that positive energy in. Exhale, let go of that. Interlace the fingers. Inhale, sweeps you up, spine goes long. And then exhale, bowing forward with gratitude. 2 more times. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Interlace the fingers. Inhale, grow long. Exhale, fold. Last time here. Inhale, grow long. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, reach up. And exhale. Either stay forward in the fold, or inhale, slowly bring yourself up to sit. Nice and tall on your spine. So you have options, either forward fold or sitting up tall, just pausing and noticing the energy of that breath. Noticing the energy moving through the body. Full inhale here. And side out. Good. Slowly start to transition yourself forward and then bring yourself all the way onto your back. So bring your block with you or your blanket. We're going to go into supported bridge. I usually like to place my blanket over my block. It just feels a little bit better. So you can go the medium way, the medium way, or maybe the low way with that blanket over the top, depending on how your back's feeling. So we're going to go into supported bridge. So I'm going to place that over to the side so that then you can slide yourself onto that block. So you're going to press those hips up, lift them up, and slide that block underneath. And again, so we're targeting a little bit of extension of the spine here. So we're opening up and lifting that pelvis higher than our shoulders. Placing the feet wherever they're comfortable to where your legs can relax. Wiggling around, setting yourself up here. And then your arms can go wide with palms up. Your hands can rest on your belly. Maybe they go up overhead, a little bit getting into the heart and lung meridians there if you reach those arms back overhead. And then once you're in your position, take a nice full inhale. And let it go. Allowing yourself to settle in here to your edge, to that point of discomfort, but yet a place that you can sit for 3 minutes. 3 minutes in stillness without fidgeting, without moving too much. Being curious of what's happening in the body. Being curious of those sensations in the body. This pose and the supported bridge pose, all of the chakras are stimulated. The thing is starting to center all of those chakras all the way from the base of your spine, all the way to the top of your head. Starting to feel that energy start to align, feeling that little pressure on the sacral area, starting to stimulate from the bottom all the way up to the top. So anytime I'll give you both what chakras are happening as well as what meridians are happening. Feel free to focus on any of those areas, or you can just focus on that physical feeling, that physical sensation that's happening in the spine, having a little bit of that extension, that openness of the front body, the slight contraction of the back body. About 1 more minute here. The meridians that are affected here, the urinary bladder, the kidney, the stomach, and the spleen. If your arms are reached back overhead, you're also energizing and stimulating the heart and lung meridians that run through those arms. These last few breaths here, really tap into the sensations that are happening in the body. Taking a full inhale here. And let it go. If your arms are back overhead, bring them down by your sides. Walk your feet in just a little bit, press into those feet, lift the hips, slide that block out from underneath you, and slowly release those hips to the ground. For those that are newer to this practice, grunting and groaning is 100% acceptable. So just pause there, notice the effects of that pose. As one of my teachers likes to say, the whoosh of the pose, so kind of like letting that go. We've kind of blocked those back meridians. Now we're kind of just letting that energy continue to flow. And then take any motions that you need to let that pose go. Maybe do some windshield wipers, maybe hug the knees in. Whatever's going to feel best to you. Just kind of let that go. Kind of have that energy move around. Let that pose take hold a little bit more in your body. The effects of that pose. And then when you're ready, we're going to make our way onto our belly for seal pose. So however you want to make your way onto your belly. So with seal pose, I like to use my blanket again. So I take my blanket and I like to roll it underneath. So I make a nice little log roll for myself. And then we're going to start in Sphinx pose. And then you can go as deep or as high as you like into seal pose. So again, we're working extension of the spine. So that when I come down over that bolster is right underneath my breasts. It's right at the base of my breastbone. It just gives me a little bit more support. And then my legs can be a little bit wider than we normally would for Sphinx pose. So I like to make mine as wide as my mat. It just helps release my back a little bit more. And then your elbows can come underneath you as much as you need. If you feel like you need more support, place more stuff underneath you. And then from here, we'll just pause in Sphinx pose, just kind of define that first edge. Once you're there, take a full inhale. And let it go. Just kind of notice if you might be gripping in the legs, maybe give them a little shake and then let them find some stillness. And here's where it sometimes can be tricky with the shoulders. Sometimes the shoulders you want to press in and lift up. See if you can kind of let your chest kind of drop in. Let those shoulders come up to your ears. And then you have the option, you can keep your head up. You can let your head dangle. Or you can let your head rest on the block. You have a couple options here. So we'll be here in Sphinx pose for about a minute. So again, we're targeting that little bit of extension of the spine. There's definitely some targeting of the shoulders, of the hips. But then taking that spine, the bottom part of our spine is an extension. That neck is in flexion. We're rounding forward a little bit. I'm trying to relax all muscle energy. That can include the jaw. Sometimes we get tight in the jaw, give that jaw a little wiggle around for a moment. So if this is feeling good and this is where you want to stay, this is where you can stay. If you want to go a little bit deeper into seal pose, your head will have to come up. You're going to make your hands just a little bit wider, maybe as wide as your mat if you're using your mat, and then press into those arms to straighten them. So your hands are pressing, relax the legs. And then again, your shoulders are going to come up to your ears. And then pressing in. Maybe your head drops. Sometimes that finds a little bit too much tension in my back, but it might be fine for you. Or maybe it just stays up. And again, kind of notice sometimes you tighten in those glutes because you've gone past your edge. See if you can relax it. So again, finding that place where you can sit in discomfort without fidgeting, without moving, but just noticing sensations that are uncomfortable, not sharp stabbing pain. And then just breathing into it. And again, all of the chakras are being stimulated here. Especially that first and second, you might feel a little bit more. We have the same meridians, that urinary bladder, the kidney, the stomach, the spleen. Not so much the heart and lung, as we're just using our arms as resting, not really extending or compressing them. If you're in seal pose, slowly make your way back down to Sphinx. You have about 30 more seconds in this pose. Take a full inhale here. And let it go. Slowly start to lift the head if it's hanging forward. And then slowly just kind of press into one hand so you can slide that bolster out from underneath you if you have one. And then roll all the way down onto your belly. Maybe rest your forehead on your hands. And then take your right leg out to the side. Just bend your knee, take that leg out to the side just to release into the a little bit. And then noticing the effects of the pose. Checking in with the quality of your breath. And then taking that right leg and bringing it straight again, and draw the left leg out to the side. And slowly take that left leg long. Slide those hands back by your side. Press back onto those hands and knees. And then maybe take a little child's pose. Just kind of counterbalance that a little bit. Take a few deep breaths here, letting that spine kind of reset. Find neutral. And next, we're going to be on our back. We're going to go into lateral flexion extension with banana asana, one of my favorites. Go ahead and pull yourself forward, come all the way onto your back. I like to bring my blanket with me. It just makes me feel a little bit more grounded when I have that with me. So from here, laying down all the way onto your back. And then I like to take that blanket and I just want to place it across my hips. I find that that really helps for me. It feels that little grounding sensation. Some people even like to draw it all the way up to the chest and just kind of feel that grounding sensation. So from here, we're going to go toward, we're going to compress the right side first. So you're going to walk your feet over to the right, keeping your pelvis kind of where it is and on the ground. I'm just going to notice that sensation. So once you've walked them over, you have a couple options. You can take that right leg and cross it over the left to kind of keep that left leg there. You're going to feel that outer hip a little bit. And then you're going to take your arms up overhead, interlink opposite hands and elbows, and then start to draw your right side toward your right hip. So your right arm toward that right hip. So you're bending your spine, right? So you're finding this little C shape. This little bow shape. And then you're just going to feel that length on the left side, that compression on the right side. So we're laterally flexing to the right of our spine. If you feel like you need more sensation in your legs, you'll take that left leg and cross it over your right. So that's going to be more sensation kind of in that outer leg area. And then once you're there, take a full inhale. And let it go. And to take notice of those sensations Allow yourself to flex a little bit more into the body if you feel like you need it, but then settle into that stillness. Try to relax the toes, relax the hands. Just allow that breath to move the body. Allow that breath to build that awareness for your body. In this pose, the second, third, fourth, and fifth chakras are being stimulated, especially with that little flexion, that lateral flexion. That's the sacral chakra, that orange color. That yellow color of the solar plexus chakra by the belly button. That nice green color of the heart chakra, that fourth chakra. And then that fifth chakra, that throat chakra, that beautiful blue color. This pose is specifically targeting that gallbladder meridian. And then with the arms up overhead, it's also targeting the heart and lung meridians. Allowing that energy to flow more freely through that energy, those energy channels. Allowing sometimes to be constricted, sometimes to be opened. We're balancing out our systems, balancing out those major systems in our body by stimulating that energy that runs through our body and goes through the environment. Taking a full inhale here. And let it go. Taking our upper body, bring that back to center first. And then releasing the arms by your side. And then uncrossing the legs if they're crossed, bring those legs back to center. Just pausing there on your back, a little mini shavasana. Noticing, feeling a little bit more energy maybe flow through that right side. Noticing the sensations on the left side. And then when we're ready, we'll go over to the second side. So start with the legs, walk those legs over to the left. Feeling that sensation first. And then as you're ready, start to reach the arms back over. And then interlink hands and elbows like you did. And then kind of go the opposite way. So it's a little bit awkward, a little bit different with that crossing. And then start to lean that left side down toward that left hip. And then once you're there again, you can always cross your right foot over your left or your left foot over your right, whichever one's going to feel more grounding for you. And then once you're there, take a full inhale. And let it go. Drop down into those sensations of this pose. First, acknowledging that flexion of the spine toward the left, the extension on the right. Maybe imagining that little bow shape happening in that spine. from the sacrum up to the neck. Maybe staying with that sensation of noticing that spine. Or maybe noticing the chakras, that energy flowing from your sacrum all the way up to your throat. Or maybe your focus is on that lengthening of that right side, that compression of the left side, stimulating the meridian energy lines. Another focus can be your breath and noticing how the breath affects the pose, the sensations of the pose. And taking a full inhale here. And let it go. Slowly start to bring that upper body back to center. Releasing those arms down by the side. And then slowly bringing those legs back to center. Just pausing there for a moment in a little mini shavasana. Let everything go. Notice the effects of that pose. And when you're ready, taking any motions you need to kind of release that pose, let it release through the whole body. Maybe bend the knees, maybe do a little pelvic lift of the hips, and let that release. Maybe windshield wipers, maybe hug the knees in, whatever's going to feel best in your body right now. And then as you're ready, you're going to make your way up towards seated. Mindfully, slowly make your way up. Once you found that seat, use anything you need to so you can sit comfortably. So our next pose is going to be long-legged butterfly. With long-legged butterfly, there's a couple options depending on how your body feels. Sometimes it's a lot of pressure on the outer knees. So sometimes you can take that blanket and kind of find a little of that padding underneath those thighs, just so the knees don't really press down too much. So your feet are pretty far apart. They're not as close as they normally would be when in butterfly pose. So it's long-legged butterfly. And the idea now is you're going to kind of round yourself forward. So kind of tilting the pelvis forward. So that might mean you need to like maybe move those glutes out of the way. It might mean you need to stuff a pillow or a blanket underneath. And then maybe have your blocks handy so that if your head or neck gets too tight, you can release it down. But then you're just gonna fold yourself forward, let yourself go forward. Arms can go forward or backwards. You're just gonna round into yourself. So now we're finding that nice flexion of the spine. We're really rounding, rounding, rounding forward. Allowing yourself to come down. That head can rest wherever it's comfortable or it can dangle. And then once you're settled in, just take a full inhale. And then just allow yourself to settle in as you exhale. Finding that edge. Finding that place of discomfort that you can sit with. Noticing the areas you notice, definitely the spine, maybe the hips, maybe a little bit of the low back, maybe the knees and ankles. Allow yourself to just settle in here with that sensation for a few moments. The chakra is stimulated with this pose. Or that first and second chakra, that root chakra, that chakra of bright red at the base of your spine. And again, that second chakra, that nice yellow, or sorry, orange color, that sacral chakra. And once again, we're stimulating that gallbladder, the urinary bladder, the kidney and the liver. And notice the different sensations that are occurring in the body. You feel any energy blockages. Imagine the breath going down there and helping that blockage release. Allow that energy to continue to flow. Taking the full inhale here. And let it go. Mindfully make your way all the way back up. And allow those legs to either draw up and with knees bent, pause there, or straighten the legs, whatever's going to feel best for you. Just sit and pause. Notice the effects of that pose. And then when you're ready, taking any motions you need to let that pose go. I usually like to lean back. forward flexion. We're going to do some more flexion forward again. You have a couple options with this next pose. So you have the option to keep your legs kind of hip distance apart, maybe a little bit closer, depending on what feels good to you in caterpillar. So it's going to be a forward fold caterpillar. Or if you want to go more into a straddle pose, or I think it's called dragonfly, you'll take your legs wide and kind of do that forward fold. So you're still getting the flexion. This is going to target a little bit more also the hamstrings a little bit and low back. So you have that as an option. If it feels too hard just to sit up and you're like, I can't do this, you always have the option to slide back to a wall and allow yourself just to be here and just kind of lean forward as much as you can. So you have a little bit of that support on your back if you need it. Otherwise, legs straight out, folding forward. I sometimes like to have a little extra rounding in my low back, so I kind of take my blanket and wedge it right underneath my belly, and then let myself round forward. Some people find this a little too much compression, so they don't like it. And then maybe that block's there, maybe you let it dangle, or maybe you pop it down. So go ahead into your pose of what you feel like you're going to do, and then really relax those legs, right? We're used to holding that little flexion in them. Let them relax. Let your shoulders relax, let your jaw relax. Finding your edge. And then once you're at your edge, take a full inhale. And let it go. Settling into this pose. Allowing yourself to go inward, back to your intention, noticing the sensations of the body. All the very similar meridians we're stimulating that we've been stimulating in these forward folds and these extensions of the spine, the gallbladder, the urinary bladder, the stomach, the spleen, the kidney and the liver. Having that compression of those meridians on the front side that we were opening earlier. And now really opening the meridians on the back body that were compressed earlier as we were on our back. The different chakras stimulated, that first, second, third, sixth, and seventh. Especially that sixth chakra, that forehead, that third eye chakra, that nice purple color, especially if your head's resting on something. And then that seventh chakra, the top of your head, that bright white or violet color coming out the top of your head. Maybe you're feeling some extra energy at one of those places today. Taking a full inhale here. And let it go. Slowly bring yourself all the way back up. Taking your time. Notice every little vertebra stack up. Just notice the effects of that pose. And then as you're ready, go ahead and release that pose. We have a little cricket. They come in, and our cats don't even chase them. They're tired. They're like, oh yeah, it's been before.
You don't want to eat them?
Nope. From here, you're going to make your way onto your hands and knees for just a moment. So we're going to do one little kind of, because we're working on our spine, we're going to do some flossing of the spine. So we've done this before, but it's a nice little flow before we get down to the bottom and are able to do our twists. So find yourself onto your hands and knees. You might need some padding depending on how hard the floor is underneath you. And then once you're there, we're going to take that normal cat cow. We're going to take a couple of normal rounds so that then when we go into the second round, the different way, you'll feel the difference a little bit. So just find a few rounds of cat cows. Inhale, lengthen, go nice and slow. You don't have to go super deep. Exhale, round. So you'll kind of notice the effects of the practice already as we're lengthening and extending our spine. And then as we're rounding and flexing that spine, right? So you're going to feel those areas that we worked today. Feeling that spine a little bit. And then after one more exhale, come to a neutral spine. Good. And then this time as you inhale, you're going to lean forward, round the spine. Let those hips kind of come forward. And then as you exhale, you're going to sit the hips back, lengthen the chest forward, find that cow pose. And as you inhale, pull yourself forward, round the spine, let the hips come forward. As you exhale, lengthen the spine, send those hips back to your heel. Good. Two more times. Inhale, rounding, coming forward. Exhale, lengthening and sitting back. Good. One more time here. Inhale, round forward. And then exhale, sitting back. As you sit back, maybe point the toes, come into that child pose. Just let everything drop down. Take a few deep breaths there. Maybe you can start to feel a little bit more length in the spine. A little bit more stimulation along those chakras along the spine. Maybe just a more sense of a little bit of grounding. Exhale, fold here. And then slowly we're going to make our way onto our back. We're going to come into a twist. So your choice of a twist, whatever's going to feel best to you. I'm going to walk you through twisted root. We'll stay each side a few moments, a few minutes. Once you're on your back, if you have anything that's like constricting your head being on the ground, maybe take that off your head. And then from here, you're going to shift those hips to your right side. And then take that right leg over your left. And then drop those knees over to the left. So depending on how you are here with this pose, remember it's a relaxing pose, you're relaxing everything. You might need some props under your knees. You might need some prop underneath that right shoulder. But from here, you're going to open up the arms if it feels okay. And if you want to stimulate that throat chakra, that fifth chakra, you're going to turn your head and look over to that right arm. And then once you're in your pose, take a full inhale here. And let it go. So now we're finding that rotation of the spine. We've gone through all the directions of the spine will take us in today. Finding some length, finding some extension, finding some strength. Now finding some rotation. Just kind of noticing where you're holding on and gripping and try to let that go. And the other chakras that are stimulated here besides that throat chakra are the fourth, the third, and the second. So all those that line up along the torso. And once again, the urinary bladder, the gallbladder, the spleen, the liver, the heart and lungs when those arms are nice and wide. All of those meridians are stimulated here. Some are compressed, some are extended. Trying to find that energy flow again. Releasing any blockages, any areas where we feel the energy kind of stagnant and still. Directing that breath there and seeing if you can direct that breath to open up that area, free up that energy to allow it to flow again. Taking a full inhale here. And let it go. Mindfully bring those legs all the way back up. And again, grunting and groaning, totally appropriate. Uncross the legs, bring those knees and hips back to center. Just pause there. Knees can be bent, legs can be straight, whatever's going to feel best. Just notice the effects of that pose. And as you're ready, start to shift the hips slightly to the left. Take that left leg over the right, and then dropping those knees over to the right. Again, using any props you need to under any part of your body so that you can settle into that edge, making sure it's not too deep. You're not going past that edge and causing yourself to be uncomfortable to fidget. And then once you're in the pose where you can sit comfortably with that discomfort, take a full inhale. And as you let it go, settle into that stillness. Again, if it's comfortable for the neck, taking your gaze toward that left shoulder or gaze. If that's not comfortable, keeping it in mind. And again, just noticing the areas that have sensation, finding your edge, allowing yourself to just be here with your body, with your breath. Taking a full inhale here. Let it go. Slowly start to bring those movements back up to the center. Unwinding those legs, bring the hips back to center. Pause there, either legs bent or knees straight, wherever is going to help best feel the effects of that pose. Feeling that energy release and go through the body. And as you're ready, take any motions you need to release that pose. Maybe hug the knees in, maybe happy baby, maybe windshield wiper. And then start to transition into your restorative pose. That could be seated, that could be reclined, it could be on your belly, your back, your side. Whatever position you can find restoration, where you can find a few more minutes of stillness. We'll have 3 minutes of stillness here. Just allowing the whole body to open up, the whole body to feel the effects of this practice. Feeling that spine nice and long on your spine, on your mat. Knowing that that spine has gained a little bit more strength, a little bit more mobility. Allowing it to bend a little bit more without breaking. Allowing you to stand up a little bit taller to challenge it. Allowing you to just feel more grounded and comfort in your body, knowing that you have a strong core, strong spine. Allowing yourself to just surrender here for a few more moments of silence, of stillness. And I'll bring you out of Shavasana with 3 bells. Okay, breath. allowing that next breath to come in a little deeper. On your next breath, start to bring some movement into the body, starting with fingers, toes, wrists, and ankles. Moving up into the arms and legs, maybe giving yourself a big stretch or a big hug, whatever feels best here. And then as you're ready, mindfully make your way all the way up to seated. No rush, taking your time. Go as slow as you need. As you arrive at that seated position, feel the length and strength of the spine. Acknowledging any shifts or changes mentally, physically from the practice. And allow yourself to be on your mat, in your body, aware of your breath. And as you transition off your mat into your evening and weekend ahead, take the calm of this practice, taking that strength of your core, your spine, and allow yourself to stand up to challenges, bend without breaking, and be strong in the core. Allow those hands to come to your heart center. We'll feel the practice with an Om. Exhale forward here. Inhale. Bowing it slightly. Take a moment. Think of that one thing in your life you truly are grateful for today. Hold on to that image in your mind's eye as you raise your head with a smile. Thank you for being here. Thank you. There's lots of water. Each of you for some sunblock. We'll see you again soon.